Okay, so by far the easiest way to transpose, physically easiest way to transpose, is slap on a capo. And I think we talked about that a little bit in part one. I just want to give you a quick example again. Oh yeah, it was Amazing Grace. I showed you how it's too low for my voice. I really like it fingered this way with the key, the G shape, but it's too low. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. So if I were just gonna sing this or lead a group of people and singing it, I would just strap on my capo. I like the third fret. Might be a different fret for you. So if you've never used a capo before, it's kind of like you just pretend that this now is where this was. And so this is like your first fret, second fret, third fret. And if you make the G shape here, then you have, listen to my voice now. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. It's very much more comfortable. But suppose there's somebody else playing along and they play piano and they need to know what key I'm in. I just slapped the capo on, and usually at first it's confusing. So this can be confusing. Let me make sure I'm clear. I'm making a G shape with my fingers, but musically it's not actually a G because it's higher. This is a G chord. And then when I put the capo on, not a G anymore. It's like we're not in Kansas anymore. Same shape, but it's higher. So it's a new chord, and we don't know what it is yet. There are a lot of different ways of figuring out what key you're in when you slap on the capo. If you're just playing by yourself, you don't need to know. You can experiment with putting it different places and see how it feels when you're singing, or maybe it feels better under your fingers. You don't need to know. But if you're playing with somebody else and you need to tell them what key you're in, then it would be nice to know. Okay, so there are some real heady ways of doing this, like if we were playing G and we put the capo on the third fret, that's 1.5 steps, but I think that's just way too much brain work. And then you would have to know your keys and, sharps and flats and all your keys and stuff. This is what I think works best. And so I'm going to be giving a sales pitch also about learning where the roots are in your chords. This is a really important thing. Whenever I teach a chord, I want you to know where your root is. And this is one of those things, like, even if you're not good at I don't want to say it that way. Even if you don't like the way your G chord sounds yet, you might know the shape, and that's important progress. And while you wait for your G chord to start sounding better, and it will, one of the best ways to get it sounding better is to keep playing melodies and simple exercises, one note at a time. And then you come back to it gradually, it'll sound better. But you could focus on learning and understanding while you're waiting for your G chord to start sounding better. And one of the best things, there's two reasons you want to learn your roots. So this note here, when you make your G shape, you really want to memorize that spot right there is a G note. That one sound is a note. All the sounds is a chord. So this spot right here is a G note. And it's your root. The note has the same name as the name of the chord. It's a G chord. That spot is your root. When you make this shape, no matter where you make this shape, that spot is the root of the chord, and it's the name of the chord. So if you know that spot is the name of your chord, so right now, that spot is a G, and so this shape is a G chord. Okay, so what we need to know if we want to name this chord, now it's going to be higher. I'm putting my capo back on the 3rd fret. Let's see what fret we're on when we make the G shape. So what fret am I actually on? The question is, so I know this spot is the name of my chord, but I may or may not know the name of that note right there. So what we need to do is have an easy way. So there's two steps to this strategy. First step is know where the root is on your chord. So we've established that this spot is the root. The only other thing we need to know is what note is that right there. Okay, and if it's hard to see, let me give you a real good look so you can see I'm between. Now this is where we have to get actual. A little while ago I said something about this being like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd fret, but when we're naming our chord, we have to realize we're actually on not the 3rd fret here, we're actually on the 6th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some of you might know that that's a B. Some of you might know that that's an A. So right here, we would usually call that B flat. You could also call it A sharp, but B flat is more common. But what if you don't know that that's a B flat? This is something that's going to help you learn not just what we're doing today, but this is going to help you learn your way around on the guitar. These are all the natural notes. I think it's good to learn these notes first. But before you have them memorized where they're at, I'll put this in the PDF too. If I forget, please remind me. You can know the shape of your major scale, and you can know that if you know one, like say right now we know G. Remember I said this spot here without the capo? I should have used an easier capo. This spot here I call G, and we're trying to learn what that spot is. So if we look, this is the way the notes go everywhere on the guitar. If this note is a G, 2 frets higher is A, 2 frets higher is B, 1 fret higher is C. So we're looking right in here. Our first note was a G. We want to know what this note is. So G to A is a whole step. And then our note we want is right here, right between A and B. Okay, I'm not sure if I made that clear, so I'm just going to say it again. We know where G is, and we were looking for the note right between A and B. So what I'm saying is if you know this note, what if you don't know that note? We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you know that this is a G, actually you know this is a G because you know this is a G shape. I'm just, we're assuming you're that far along. You know this is a G shape and you have learned where your roots are. So if you know this is your root, you know that's a G note. That's how you know that's a G note. And then you want to know what this note is. So you could use this chart to help you find your way up the neck, okay? If you go 2 frets higher, that's a whole step, and that would be an A. 2 more frets higher would be a B. So that would be an A, that would be a B. This is the one that we need to know. So if it's a half step lower than a B, we call it B flat. So guess what? We're in the key of B flat. And I guess the way I presented this, I could see why that might sound like a lot of work. But if you do this exercise, even like do it in the morning, if you're new at this, when your brain is fresh, and just do it once a week or once a month, just crunch through it. Actually, this would be a good thing to do together in a workshop too. I think we should do that. So we figured out the name of this note. But this is more than just figuring out what key you're in when you use the capo. The part where you know where your roots are, let me just tell you, the other thing about knowing where your roots are, say you're at a jam session or you're just with a friend and you're playing a song that has G in it and you don't like the way your G chord sounds, like what? You don't like the way your G chord sounds yet. You can just play bass. Just play this one note. Whenever it's time for a G chord, just play that. And you could do the whole song that way if you know what the roots are, okay? You can actually pick, you can participate in music that way, even if you don't know the roots. Just pick one string that's part of the chord and play that one. And that'll give you some really good musical development for knowing when to change chords. Let's see, I was telling you this is not just about slapping on a capo, knowing what key you're in. This thing about getting familiar with this is the shape of where, not just a major scale, but where your letter names are on your fretboard. Every string is going to follow this pattern for the names of the natural. Just take a quick look here. C, D, E, F. So we have C to D as a whole step, D to E as a whole step, and then from E to F is always a half step. Let's just look at that. So if I were trying to learn my notes higher up the fret, here is C on the 3rd fret, 5th string, C, D is a whole step, E whole step, and E to F is a half step. So if you just learn, when we're talking about natural notes, that means no sharps or flats. If you just learn with the natural notes, it's like the alphabet, and they're all whole steps, except when you're going from E to F or B to C. And there's some tricks for learning that too, other than mnemonic devices. For example, once you know, if you know that this is a B and this is a C, then this right here will remind you that B to C is a half step. And if you know that from here to F, E to F, if you know those notes, then your guitar can tell you. It's like, oh, I forget where the half steps are. Oh yeah, B, C is a half step, and E, F. If you know those, that's a couple of the very first things I like to teach is A, B, C, and then you can always look here to remember B to C is a half step, E to F is a half step. So this thing, and just getting used to this and applying it, that will help you find your way around the fretboard. So like this is a C. So let me just show you another example. C, D, E, all whole steps. E to F would be a half step, and then whole, whole, whole. So I would be going F, G, A, B, C. So those things are handy, you know, for lots of things. Let me know if I lost you anywhere in there and how it goes for you, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Bye-bye.